Hey cats, it's your favourite footwear friend, EDDBUD here. Today I have for you a super shoe down. I've had a chance to test out the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 over the last few weeks up against some of the stiff carbon competition. Is the playing field now almost level between these shoes? Well, within 8 to 5mm of drop anyway. Today I'm comparing the Endorphin Pro 4 up against a whole bunch of different options. The VAPORFLY 3 from Nike, the Rocket X2 from HOKA, the CLOUDBOOM Echo 3 from On, and the ADIOS Pro 3 from ADIDAS. Lots of shoes, lots of stats, let's get to it. Thanks for joining me on this jaunt through the carbon races of 2024. Which of these is the Gianluigi Buffon of the super soft propulsive pace options? Before we get to it, if you're enjoying the channel, do help us to reach 1 million subscribers by clicking that button below, but also giving this video a thumbs up like. It really helps out, you know. Dankeschön. Today our focus is on the Endorphin Pro 4, newly released from Saucony. This one's coming in about 249 grams for me in my UK size 11, US 12. So it's right in the middle there in terms of the ballpark figure for these super shoes. I'm finding this one ideal for pretty much any type of effort, you know, those sort of common distances between 5k to the marathon. The ADIOS Pro 3 and the CLOUDBOOM Echo 3 come in at around about 260 grams. Then the Rocket X2 a touch lighter at 253 grams. The lightest of the bunch though by far is that VAPORFLY 3. It's about 16 grams lighter than the Endorphin Pro 4. I'd suggest they've probably saved that weight with the very holy upper and the quite thin rubber spread on the outsole of the shoe. I'd say as a race shoe, the midsoles here are very much on par with each other. A little bit more responsive this time from that layer of Power Run HG foam that we've got underfoot here. We got the same midsole stack across pretty much every single shoe in today's video. The manufacturers all seem to have agreed that about 43 or 42mm of heel stack in my size of the shoes is optimal. They all have like an 8 to 5mm drop. There's good responsiveness actually from the midsoles here. I think the companies have moved away a little bit from the super soft kind of vibe. They've realised that actually the more responsive, quick to return to form foams are actually the ones that people really enjoy when they're racing at speed. I think there's other options out there if you just want cushion. These are amongst the most responsive and enjoyable and exciting to running at speed. I have to be honest, I am preferring the upper on the Endorphin Pro 4 much more than the VAPORFLY 3. It was very baggy for me and my size, just too much material there. They could have made the shoe even lighter. I think those with more voluminous feet probably will benefit from going for the Endorphin Pro 4. All the volume's in the toe box in the VAPORFLY 3, whereas it's kind of spread out a bit more here, so I think more runners will get something out of this one over the VAPORFLY. Grip-wise, in terms of durability, I think the VAPORFLY 3 has improved over the last two iterations of the shoe, though I have heard of various runners having pieces falling off and stuff over the first run. In fact, the rubber on the outsole on the Endorphin Pro 4 is a big upgrade from the last few versions. There's a lot more grip and traction here now across different weather conditions as well. Performance wise, I can see from my training analysis I'm already edging towards the Endorphin Pro 4. I think it's a little bit psychological in terms of the fit. It just feels like I'm connected to the midsole and that plate a little bit more here. Just feels a bit more nimble across a range of different effort levels as well. I'm not sure that the VAPORFLY 3 ever felt great at those slightly lower paces, especially around that marathon effort for me. Just didn't feel all that exciting to run in at that type of effort, whereas the Pro 4 really does feel quite exciting across all different efforts. ADIOS Pro 3 is our next shoe for comparison. Now the foam here, a little bit denser, a little bit firmer, although it does free up as you put more miles into the shoe. I found it extremely durable, and I have to say that there are some PEBA based midsole materials that really don't hold up quite as well over time. I did like the profile of the ADIOS Pro 3 on foot, though I did find the lockdown a little bit fiddly to achieve. I'm not finding that in the Endorphin Pro 4. The elasticated laces aren't really my absolute favourite, but they're easily switched out. The laces in the Pro 4 were just a little bit too thin and wiry for my liking. I have found the lockdown much easier to achieve in the Endorphin Pro 4 over the ADIOS Pro 3. It's just a bit more consistent. You just seem to get it right more often than not. I think a few people might find it a bit odd though how the stitched in tongue does fold over as you cinch the laces together. It may irritate those a little bit with a narrower foot. You'll just get a bit more bunching there. With this one, it was all about getting the tongue to lay completely flat. I never felt like I was fully locked into the shoe with these lace loops here at the end. I did find the ADIOS Pro 3 really good over a range of different paces and sort of effort levels, though it probably wouldn't be my choice for a 5 or 10k. I just feel it's a little bit more tuned now for that half marathon or full marathon effort. I'm finding the Endorphin Pro 4 really great, a very versatile sort of shoe. I think I'll be able to race just about anything in this one. I just find it a bit more responsive, and it seems to enable me to get to those higher speeds a little bit easier, certainly on the 5 and 10k effort reps. Just a bit more bounce there, a little bit more compression, I suppose, which does make it that little bit more versatile if you're going to be running out there for a long time. I think on a varied range of terrain, the Saucony might come up trumps too. I do like the Continental rubber that's on the ADIOS Pro 3. I just found it a little bit slippery when things get wet, especially if you hit any mud patches as well, you just go sliding. Does seem to be an improvement here with the ridges in the forefoot rubber this time around on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. I also like the fact that they've enhanced the heel rubber here. It just stretches back a little bit further to the rear of the shoe. That said, you can pick these up on discount at the moment for around about 150 quid here in the UK. Sorry, 150 Earth credits in the UK. If you are after that top-notch racer for a discount, then I think that's probably one of the best right now. If you're enjoying today's video, help us out. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Certainly a lower profile here in the On CLOUDBOOM Echo 3. Narrower in the heel, actually the narrowest in today's video, and narrower in the forefoot as well, up against that Endorphin Pro 4. There's a good centimetre less width actually in this one. I think that probably again means that the Endorphin Pro 4 is a little bit better if you've got a higher volume foot. The PIBA-based material that we've got here in the On shoe is that little bit denser and firmer. Perhaps it needs to be that way due to that narrower base, just to improve the stability. If you had something super soft, I think the stability in this one would really suffer. Grip wise, I do think the Endorphin Pro 4 has got a little bit more to it in terms of the rubber coverage. That is especially the case in the rear of the shoe here, where I found the rubber wore down quite quickly. One aspect of this shoe that I really do love is the laces. They've got this like silicone sort of feel embedded into them, and it really does help them to stay exactly where you want them once they're on foot. Just keeps that lace tension really consistent. Though a lace change out isn't the end of the world, it's quite nice to just take something straight out of the box and have it absolutely usable. Another aspect I love about this shoe is a very low profile around the ankle and the heel. I don't like there to be too much material around my foot. It just seems to really improve the flexibility and range of motion, so it does have that in common with the Endorphin Pro 4. We do have a traditional heel counter here in the On shoe, though it is quite low profile once again. I think the odd thing with super shoes at the moment is they all kind of follow this similar template, though On are a company known for their Cloud Tech within the midsole, and also the Cloud Phase technology as well, but there isn't really a hint of that at all. Aside from these little cutouts in the midsole, that's the only thing really that sort of separates this one out from some of the other super shoes. I think my major worry about this one was durability, and after some more runs I do have some damage here in the heel. It's always on that lateral side. The foam itself is actually holding up quite well. It's just the paint that's kind of just flaking off really quickly. With PIBA stuff though, it does tend to go on for a couple of 100 miles at least before you probably want to retire it to being a tempo shoe. Do need to get some more miles into this one. I've got some 5k races coming up, so I think this is the one I'll probably utilize for that. Last up, but by no means least, is the Rocket X2 from HOKA. Now this one's very close in weight to the Endorphin Pro 4. There's only about a gram or so in it. A lot of people mentioned to me that this shoe wasn't like maxed out at 40mm. I still have a very similar heel stack. There's about 42mm in this one. Slightly less of a drop though, it's only 5mm. This is one of HOKA's best shoes to date in my book, certainly. I think if you're after a faster carbon plated shoe for 10k or above, then it does tick a lot of boxes. Not quite the width in the forefoot when you compare it up against the Endorphin Pro 4, but very similar heel width here. And the foam is a little bit softer actually than what we've got in Pro 4. I think this is a more standard like slab of foam, whereas of course we've got the pellet type stuff that is used in the Endorphin Pro 4. Now, a lot of people miss this, but the reason these new HOKA shoes are so good, the ones that use this sort of PIBA based material anyway, is because they've gotten rid of the strobel underneath the insole. You're literally right on top of that foam, and I think that really does improve things. It's the same in the CLO X1. I think that's why I love both of these shoes so much. They do remind me a little bit in some ways of the Invincible run, the first one. That again had no stray ball. It was literally the insole on top of the foam, and it makes all the difference. Why some of the other companies haven't realized this so far, I don't know. But that does elevate the Rocket X2 into the sort of top places for me. Grip's decent on road, but it doesn't quite have the depth of the Endorphin Pro 4 outsole. If you're going on anything that's remotely trail-like, and I mean UK trails here, where we've got debris, branches and mud, just don't do it. Lockdown on the upper of the Rocket X2 is certainly on par with the Saucony, maybe even a tad more traditional. We do have partial gusseting here in the Rocket X2 tongue. Doesn't slide around, and it's lovely and breathable as well. Reminds me a little bit of the original Vaporfly Next Percent upper. I think perhaps it's the rigidity and the underfoot feel of the foams that makes these shoes very familiar. I do think the Saucony's got a slight edge over the Rocket X2 though in terms of versatility. Certainly again, this one's tuned in for those slightly longer efforts for me. I think you could use this at any type of race pace. Maybe a little bit too soft for those very fast 5k efforts. This has a little bit more bounce and response. I wouldn't say it's firm at all. None of these shoes are in today's video, but I think that Saucony have got the balance just right this time round. I often think back to the 10k road record from Kipruto. He was wearing a pair of the, I think it was the Takumi Sen 6, which was light strike and boost. Very low stack, that one, and look what he could do there. He still has the men's road record. I think that was set back in like 2020. So you need a bit of response if you're going to do fast road racing. I still think of some of these soft compressive shoes as being total overkill for 5 or 10k in fact. Then again, I'm as light as a feather for my height. So that's all my comparisons for today. As you can see, aside from sort of upper fit and some of the outsole traction, there's not a lot in it these days. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on all of these and more down in the comments, and I will be reviewing the Metaspeed Sky Paris very soon. Quick musical interlude for you. Absolutely will be listening tomorrow to Dick Dale on my way over to Weymouth. Obviously going over to the seaside. We're going to see some surf, we're going to see some people eating fish and chips, all that kind of stuff. One of my favourite tracks from Dick Dale is Hava Nagila. This is just pure raucous madness. There's loads and loads of spring reverb. It sounds like the tank's gonna explode at any minute. It's like a furious pace as well. If you've ever tried playing guitar and doing that very sort of staccato picking, tremolo picking as people call it, it's really difficult to get it down with that level of consistency. Apparently Dick Dale was a very sort of methodical, sort of trained man. I think he did a lot of martial arts apparently as well. But Hava Nagila is one of the top moments from Dick Dale. Brilliant brass section in there as well, which kind of complements the guitar playing. The recording's got that grit about it as well that makes it real, it makes it true, and very, very exciting to listen to. Could be quite good as well if you're running a 5 or 10k, put this on and you'll be flying, you know, along the promenade. Dick Dale with Hava Nagila. Thanks for tuning in, people. It's always appreciated. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you